People often ask me, what is it like to have two prairie dogs living in your house? I always laugh and say, it's like living with two Disney characters, except you're constantly preparing for trouble. Every morning, Pablo and Pedro make us laugh. They stretch, yawn dramatically, and race around the house like they've just woken up for a brand new adventure. What no one would guess is that these two adorable little guys were once so timid that they probably wouldn't have survived if they had been released back into the wild. I found Pablo and Pedro through a pet rehoming website. There wasn't much information about their past. I assumed they had been kept as pets and then rehomed for some reason. When I met them for the first time, they were tiny, curled up in a corner, and terrified whenever anyone came near them. Looking into their eyes, I realized that if they were released into the wild now, they wouldn't know how to survive. They had become too dependent on humans. That's when I made a decision. If I was going to bring them home, I was going to be responsible for them for the rest of their lives. I spent months researching everything I could about prairie dogs. I read every article I could find, watched countless videos, talked to experienced owners, and tried to prepare as thoroughly as possible. I knew they weren't ordinary pets. If I cared for them the wrong way, both they and I would struggle. During the first few weeks, Pablo and Pedro trusted no one. They jumped at every little sound. If I took a step toward them, they immediately ran back into their corner. I didn't force them to interact with me. Instead, I spent hours simply sitting in the room with them. Some nights, I even slept there so they could slowly get used to my presence. Little by little, something amazing happened. Pablo was the first to gather enough courage to come out of hiding. At first, it was only for a few seconds, then a few minutes. Then he started coming closer to me every day. I think once Pedro saw that Pablo wasn't afraid anymore, he began to realize I wasn't a threat either. From that point on, both of them started to open up. But even then, I had no idea how much my life was about to change. Within a few months, Pablo and Pedro went from being frightened little animals to becoming the clingiest creatures I had ever met. They didn't just want to be near me, they wanted to be on me.
He's been so confident. Just never questioned anything that he's done. And all his success has been based on him trusting in him.
Every time I sat down, both of them climbed into my lap. If I lay on the couch watching TV, they tried to curl up on my chest or shoulder. Lying next to me wasn't enough. They always wanted to feel that they were touching me somehow. Every morning became a hilarious greeting ritual. Pablo and Pedro would yawn, stretch, and sprint around the house like two kids who had just been let loose at a playground. Within minutes, they were exploring every corner as if they had never seen it before. And of course, wherever these two brothers went, trouble followed. They worked together like a professional team. If Pablo managed to squeeze into some forbidden spot, Pedro was usually right behind him a few seconds later. More than once, I opened a laundry basket and found both of them curled up inside, sleeping like they had discovered the greatest nest in the world. After every little adventure, they would run back to me, climb up my legs, and demand pets. If I stopped scratching them for even a few seconds, they would keep climbing as if to say, "Excuse me, we're not done yet." Moments like that made us joke that we were living with real-life Disney characters. Even so, the two brothers have completely different personalities. Pablo is like a toddler who refuses to grow up. The moment he hears me getting ready to go outside, he starts running circles around the house like an excited dog about to go for a walk. Pedro is the exact opposite. He's much quieter and tends to follow me from room to room. But no matter how different they are, they're always a team. One starts the trouble, and the other immediately joins in. What I love most about Pablo and Pedro isn't the chaos. It's the happiness they bring into our home every single day. It's hard to wake up in a bad mood when two tiny faces are already staring at you with excitement. They fill the house with laughter. But if anyone asks me whether prairie dogs are the right pets for everyone, my answer is always no. They are still wild animals. They require a tremendous amount of time, knowledge, and patience. They are not pets people should choose simply because they saw a cute video online.
Deep down inside, you're questioning yourself. You have to forgive that kid.
I don't regret choosing Pablo and Pedro for a second. But before adopting any exotic animal, I always encourage people to do thorough research and talk to professionals. When you bring an animal into your home, you're not just getting a pet. You're accepting responsibility for an entire life. And for me, Pablo and Pedro have brought more laughter, more love, and more meaning into my life than I ever could have imagined.